Good evening and welcome to tonight's first night race here at the Charlotte Raceway, Charlotte, North Carolina, here where the CiL GR86 Championship takes to the track under the lights here, and these schools are ready to go as usual. Already seeing a little bit in the chat, Matt, about the kindness with the bumpers on these Toyota GR86 race cars. You can see right there, it's an appropriate night for tin top racing. We've got a pretty balmy ambient temp and track temp, which is to be expected when the sun is not here to radiate down. So, Matt Nordberg up in the booth with me. What are you expecting for tonight, and how do you think this will pan out to 10-lap sprints with an invert in between?
Well, thanks, Josh. I think it's going to be a pretty interesting race tonight. I think the Roval is a track that a lot of these drivers are very familiar with. It's one of those first tracks that a lot of drivers get exposed to when they first join iRacing, and really these 10 top GR86s are going to be the best cars to take on this track in. Not quite high horsepower as a lot of other cars, and you can get nice and close to one another without too much contact. So I expect to see a lot of close racing tonight, and especially in this tight infield section with walls all around you.
Yeah, that infield section is really tight. And there's not a lot of room, especially as these cars try and get sorted. And we're going to see a lot of action going into turn one as well, with that kind of thin area. These cars do inspire confidence, and they are momentum based, just like your Mazda Miata. So they're going to require these drivers to take no prisoners down into turn one. And through the balance of the course, on your screen now, Texas A&M International is trying to put their lap down. That's Major Monsivice, who made his debut for the university back in Sonoma 1 week ago. Looks like he's happy with that lap. Going to try and set one more if he can go and get some cooler tires on that machine. But yeah, these cars, and a great shot right there that you can see. Alex Diamond is going to try and make it through that corner. A little bit thin, you want to negotiate the walls right here. And then very tricky as you go into a double right-hander here in the infield of Charlotte Raceway. It's very important to get back on the gas right there. And then again, a lot of elevation change. You can see that car bouncing around and back onto the curbing right there. And Diamond, who has been really one of the consistent on the roadside drivers for Drexel University, he's going to try and carry as much speed as he can up to that Charlotte USA sign, and now a little bit of breathing room as he tries to bring that car back down to the line. He's going to make his way down towards the chicane. But yeah, that infield section is going to be where we see a lot of moves tonight, Matt. It's tricky there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think you saw it there coming back onto the oval section of the track as Diamond gets a little bit squirrely coming through the chicane here on the back end of the lap. But coming back onto the oval section, I think it's going to be very important to get a great run out of that corner, because one of the best opportunity spots is that chicane we just saw Diamond navigate through. And I think if you can get alongside coming into that corner, you have a really good shot as making the overtake on the inside. But I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a couple drivers trying to fight around the outside of that chicane, thinking that maybe they could get around this second chicane leading to the start-finish line.
Yeah, it's not uncommon to try and be, and we've seen it a number of times as NASCAR makes their annual trip to the Roval here, to be on the inside coming into that final chicane. It's closer to the wall, but you can really push your opponent wide there, and we may see that tonight. Coming off of a solid 2 races and with a lot of momentum in his season, Ian Brown from Mesa Community College, that driver has been doing battle with the entire top of the grid to try and put that Toyota up front, and has been doing a good job as well. That's going to be a car that I assume we will see up front and talk about for a large portion of the night. Somebody else who we're going to get to talk about a little bit is Kyle Bonin at Clemson University, currently in pole. That's a driver for that Orange Wheel Racing group that is very fast in these 10 tops, was quite the menace in the GT3 challenge that CiL hosted for several seasons. And with our return to sports cars, returning for a night, Kyle Bonin here to see if he can make his impression on the field. And quite, look at that, Matt, right on the curbs. He is getting his money's worth. I don't know if that's the fastest way through, but it was amusing to watch.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that a lot tonight, with drivers really trying to push the boundaries of how much curb can these cars take. You know, it's a pretty compliant suspension in these 10 tops, not like an open wheel car where you got really stiff suspension, as you really see Kyle Bonnet take all of the curb and then some coming through the final chicane of this lap. So I think the drivers who can best maximize their speed through some of these curbs and really attack them, they're going to be rewarded tonight with some good lap times and some hopefully podium finishes.
Yeah, I think that's correct. And another driver that I'm looking at is in 4th place right now as we qualify Jason Willott, the Daytona winner from last season and continuing to have very good performances in the Garage Shop College Cup Series on our Monday nights, and has arrived on the scene Wednesdays to make his claim there to victory lane. And that 76 machine has been quick and talented. A little bit short on the good luck that you need to finish up front in these cars, but Jason Willott and Drexel University going to make a strong push, and I think that's one of the stories we're starting to see of the season, Matt, is Drexel University has come out strong to each of these events with 3 cars, and I think that's going to bode well for them, as getting all of the curb is the 49. That's Alex Diamond, the Drexel teammate there, so those drivers trying to figure out just how much that tow is worth, and a little bit tricky getting into the chicane right there.
Yeah, unfortunately, Diamond's going to miss out on this tow to the last chicane from his teammate Jason Willott, but I think it's going to be important for the team battles to come into play here because, you know, right now they're only sitting 5th and 6th, but if they can work together, maybe pick off a car at a time and try to make room for the other, I wouldn't be surprised to see Drexel move up through the field a little bit. But at the front of the field right now, Jake Cummings from Wingate and Kyle Bonnet from Clemson, only 14 thousandths of a second separate those two drivers. There's only a couple minutes left in our qualifying session right now as Jake Cummings has just entered the pits. Kyle Bonnet's still out there hot lapping right now. We'll see if he can put a better time on the board and reclaim that pole position he had earlier in the session.
Yeah, true to form in any timed qualifying format, you know, we will have a little bit more excitement as we get down to the end. 2 minutes to go in this one, and stealing that pole position is Wingate University. I would expect Mesa Community College to make a run there as well. However, doesn't seem to be the case right now, as they are hanging out a little bit lower down. 3rd place, still quite good, but the big separator there, as you can see, Matt, is almost half a second behind the top 2, who have really got this joint figured out right now.
Yeah, but I expect that time to kind of decrease during the race session just because everybody's bunched up, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cummings and Bonnet kind of got into each other's way during the race, kind of hurt each other in terms of fighting, and that's going to cost them lap time. And I think that will keep Ian Brown, Major, Monsivas, Jason Willott, Alton, Diamond, really the rest of the field in touching distance, as long as they can keep it together through that tight infield section, where I believe that's where they're making a lot of their time, is getting right up close to this wall, as we see on the exit of turn 1. Ian Brown right now, how brave can he be? Not quite that close to the wall, but that's not necessarily going to hurt him in terms of lap time. I think really these couple turns right here, where it's turns 3 and 4 kind of leading into one another, you can really gain tons of speed through here if you get the corner right.
Yeah, that's correct. And again, the drivers will be very tempted as they make that initial turn in to keep it shallow, but a lot of speed right there can be gained from waiting just a little bit and coming off straight, because you want to set up the entry into this, down, up, over a small crest, past the flowers, and back onto the big NASCAR 3 up against the wall. And that's where that courage is coming into play, Matt. It is a little bit questionable every time, especially as tires start to fall off, if that right front is going to keep you off that outside wall, but not a problem there. Suddenly, Matt, it looks like we are ready to race here in Heat 1.
Sure sounds like it, as Jake Cummings from Wingate University is able to take our pole position tonight with a 131.403. Right to his outside is Kyle Bonnet from Clemson University, only 14 thousandths of a second away from that pole position time. Lining up in the 2nd row, Ian Brown and Mesa Community College. In 3rd, and then Major Monsivas from Texas A&M International lines up 4th, leading the students tonight in this race. Jason Willott from Drexel in 5th on the outside, and then Hunter Hadesti from Clemson is in 6th, Alex Diamond in 7th, Michael Tognati from College of San Mateo in 8th, and Lee Nutter from East Tennessee State will round out your field in the 9th position tonight. Josh, I think we're going to have a good fight here. I think we have a full pace lap tonight, unlike a lot of other tracks, you're going to have a half pace lap, but this is going to give the drivers plenty of time to warm up their tires, get into the zone, get ready for this race, and hopefully have a clean turn 1.
Yeah, and turn 1 is going to be the key. This drivers will have a pace lap to figure out how to get around 2 wide as they go through and try and set up this race. 10 laps here at the Roval in Heat 1 and in Heat 2, so not too long of a race. But with these lap times about a minute and a half, there's not going to be too long overall to sort out where these drivers want to be and position themselves. Obviously, you'd want to be running pretty hard from the start, but we'll see if there's any big moves here on the start of the race. It can be tricky to set up passes here. This is, again, a big momentum-based car, and at a track where there's a lot of speed differences, and it's very easy to lose position. But, yeah, we'll see if there are some passes, there's some aggression on that first lap green flag. But we will find out conveniently. These cars tonight with headlights will be accenting the stadium lighting around this Charlotte Motor Speedway. And yeah, Matt, I think we're looking forward to a pretty good 2 set of heats tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you made a point here about the lights. I think this is the first time these drivers have been driving at night in this series this season, so maybe will visibility come into play here, being night, a little darker, maybe you miss a braking point or two. Not 100% sure, since this track is lit for most of it, maybe just the infield a little darker than the rest, but could still come into play. We'll see what will happen with these drivers as they come on to the oval here momentarily to get ready for this end of the formation lap.
Yeah, and I continue to think through this evening, Matt. I'm looking at that car currently in 4th position, that Texas A&M International machine. I suspect that will be a car that's up front a lot. Made his debut at Sonoma, we talked about, was very quick, and I'm going to be a broken record, but I expect that car will be very fast, and I'm hoping that he can engage in a battle up front with that orange-wheeled machine as well as the Wingate machine of Jake Cummings and that Mesa Community College car in 3rd place right now. That is the machine for Ian Brown there in that position. So surely we'll see as well the battle behind Drexel University also going to try and get in the mix here. The front-running Drexel car, Matt, is Jason Willott with the best qualifying time out of that 3-car group. So a bit of mix-up there in the mid-pack, but going to be very exciting for us and the viewers at home as we get back into NASCAR 3.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be important to get a good launch out of this final chicane here, because this chicane is going to break up some of the pack here. So important for these drivers to stick close to the cars in front of them and make sure they don't gas it up right in the middle of the chicane where you're still turning, and you have to be a bit more careful on the loud pedal. But pace car lights are off. Pace car's ready to pull into pit road here, and the drivers are rearing to go here in our first heat race of the night, Josh.
Porsche 911 down to pit lane and bringing us to green patiently. Wingate University, got to wait for all those cars, and you do want to be a bit strategic, Matt. Obviously, you're not going to want to start the race on the outside, but before he's even to the chicane, there they go. Wingate, Clemson across the line, and never mind that aggression. Yeah, big block right there. Down into turn 1 goes the driver, and Clemson University going to take that P2.
Yeah, some action back further in the field right now as Ian Brown needs to look at the outside through turn 2. That's going to give him the inside into turn 3, right on the quarter panel of Kyle Bonin, but can't quite get the move done as they scrap further back in the field. But coming off the start, it's going to be Jake Cummings from Wingate in first, followed by Kyle Bonin and Ian Brown, your top 3.
That's the top 3, everybody. A bit patient for now, and like we said, Texas A&M International just trying to finish out that 4th position right there. Ian Brown continuing to size up his prey up ahead. That's Clemson University's Kyle Bonin in that black and orange Toyota. He's going to try and move forward. A little bit of a tow right here, Matt, but overall this season, we have not seen these cars be so dependent on the draft. We've seen it at rare occasion, long straightaways like Summit Point, but not sure if we'll be able to see it right here. But back down in the corner and a big battle side by side and contact into the wall. Jason Willott right there. I think Jason Willott was behind the Clemson machine. That is the 777 Hunter Hedesti right there. And I also see Texas A&M International having a small issue. They will rejoin at the rear of this field. And so lap 1, Matt, not without a little bit of excitement. Wingate University still your leader as this group tries to battle back in. ETSU, the Buccaneers, making the most of this situation.
Yeah, chaos there in the first chicane on this lap, but what else to expect is 2 cars go off the corner in the final chicane, exact same way. One toes to pit road, Lee Nutter trying to back it onto the track now as he gets going again, but lots of action in that first lap. Let's see if we can get a replay of what happened to Texas A&M International in that first chicane here.
Working off the banking, down into the corner, following that Mesa Community College car. Everybody up on the brakes about the same point. Was there a bit too much curb in some instances? And looks like, yes, that's a pretty common move we've seen tonight, Matt, is coming out just a bit sideways, and that Toyota GR86 does not want to fall back in line. Very hard to save as those cars are sliding to their passenger side out of that second curb there in that chicane.
Yeah, it can be tough, especially when you want to get on the power so quickly to see if you can catch the car in front of you. But on track right now, Jake Cummings and Kyle Bonin side by side into the first chicane on the backstretch. Jake Cummings holds on to the lead for now. Can't quite make the move on the outside, Kyle Bonin, but he has a good run coming out of the corner. He might be able to make a run here coming down to the final chicane in turn 4 of the oval, but Kyle Bonin's going to have to really send it in there, and he's going to want to be on the right side of Cummings to make sure that he has the inside line for the chicane. He makes the move now, coming out of the corner. He's going to outbrake him. It looks like he can't quite get there. He'll have to settle for second place for another lap.
He will have to settle for another lap, and quickly the battle at the front is in 3 directions. Wingate, Clemson, and a big wiggle for Mesa Community College under the brakes. These cars can be polite into the corner, but these drivers who are really pushing, they're going to try and rotate into the corner, and it is possible, Matt, to rotate these cars a bit too much, more than you want, getting in the corner, and you have to kind of come back and gather it back up. So this battle at the front continuing. In fact, maybe a little bit of loss of pace. Talked about the momentum. That little wiggle there doing 0 favors for Mesa Community College. Suddenly, the battle is up at the front, and East Tennessee State University, you can see on your tower in pit lane, did in fact make contact with this wall right here, that right front, and big, heavy contact into that wall, and that will be a bit of work for the mechanics on that team. But Matt, if you're going to push around this Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval, you're going to have to take some risk because that's what the drivers on your screen are doing.
Yeah, for sure. As we see under braking, it looks like Kyle Bonin got a little bit squirrely. These drivers very loose going in and out of the corners right now. As we see coming out of the first chicane, that Kyle Bonin not quite close enough to make a move, and I don't think there's enough time for him to draft up to the outside of Cummings, but I could stand corrected here if Bonin gets a little brave on the brakes. Might be able to see an overtake here. He looks for it, but can't quite get it done. Jake Cummings using a little bit of that grass to the outside of the corner in the last chicane. That is AstroTurf, not real grass, so it has a little bit of grip that you can use, try to widen out that last chicane a bit more. But another lap led for Jake Cummings.
Yeah, Jake Cummings, he's getting the job done up front right now. We know, again, from those GT3 days that it is no easy task to keep Kyle Bonin and any Clemson University machine behind you in your rear view. And that's what Wingate University is doing right now. Doing a very good job of managing the race here. 3 laps under our belt, working lap 4 right now. And that is exactly what they're trying to do. Just maintain that gap. I don't think that they need to run away from Mesa Community College so much. They've got a little bit of opportunity there, even as these drivers are together. Very close to the wall right there for Clemson.
Yeah, for sure. He's really using all the track available to him, Kyle Bonin is. I mean, you really want to maximize your exit out of that last corner in the infield section and coming onto the oval, but Kyle Bonin, I think, is a little stronger in the infield section, but I think Jake Cummings has him beat on the oval section with the 2 chicanes, so we'll see how this plays out. As it looks like Kyle Bonin gets a great run coming out of the corner with Jake Cummings all the way down on the apron trying to defend, but Cummings going to have that inside line through ovals 3 and 4 coming to the last chicane, but will Bonin be able to outbrake him coming into the last chicane here?
Yeah, and on the brakes is where Bonin's going to want to be. That's comfortable for him, but this is going to be really tricky with all the service. You can see Wingate using all the track right there. First curb in, and Wingate, yeah, giving up that position. If you don't have a bumper ahead on the outside there where Wingate was, Matt, it's pretty dangerous to try and to stay on the outside because your opponent has no incentive, unfortunately, not to push you a bit wide into that curb right there, and that's not what you want. So that is temporarily the pass completed, defense continuing now, and a bit wide right there. That's not what they needed. Clemson University, he's going to have to make sure that this is one of his best sectors through here. Wingate now under fire from Mesa Community College, who has caught up to these shenanigans and trying to focus forward as best he can as these drivers, again, taking as much as they can. Mesa a little bit off the apex right there. That's going to show as these drivers get down into the chicane mat. But Wingate University right now in their newly found second position.
Yeah, it looks like Wingate's Jake Cummings was able to stick a nose in the inside in that infield section. That's what pushed Kyle Bonin wide onto the grass there. So maybe trying to spook Kyle Bonin into making a mistake, but Kyle Bonin's a wily old veteran. He's not going to fall for mistakes like that easily. He's going to try to take that outside line and use momentum coming into the infield section, that kind of middle straight. But still about half a second gap between Bonin and Cummings at the moment. Ian Brown was a bit closer, but he's fallen back now through the chicanes. And I think Ian Brown is really hoping that these two in front of him keep fighting, because that's what's bringing him into the conversation for this fight for the lead right now. I don't know if he has pace on his own, but as I say that, he catches up a couple tenths in that last chicane as still 1, 2, 3, Bonin, Cummings, and Brown.
Yeah, and right there you can see to the inside, so a bit defensive from Wingate University, but it looks like, I'm not sure if that was intentional, but it looks like they were letting go that Mesa Community College car. I don't know if that was intentional. Certainly does not look like he meant to let him go as he looks now. Cummings to the inside. Just a nose there. I don't know. Oh, lots of room given right there. So Mesa Community College could have slammed the door but chose not to. Ian Brown working around the outside right now. He's going to have the inside position for a long sequence of corners, and right here is where Wingate could try and cross over. Your leader, Clemson University, loves this. However, these two are battling for the second position, both these drivers with full intent of catching that leader right now, but Ian Brown is going to be relegated to that third position for a moment, but back on the brakes, this would be quite the move, Matt, around the outside.
Yeah, it looks like Mesa Community College's Ian Brown got into the wall a bit on entry into the chicane there. That's going to give Jake Cummings the advantage. But what a fight between those two cars in the infield section. They're not going to like it because now they're 2.5 seconds behind Kyle Bonin from Clemson. But Ian Brown, he wants the second place. He's not going to give up this fight so easily as they come down to the final chicane. Is Ian Brown going to be able to go late on the brakes? A little late on the brakes, almost contact there, bumper to bumper into the final chicane. You'd think it's a NASCAR race with how much these guys are making a little bit of contact right now. But still clean so far as Kyle Bonin steams away from these two right now as Jake Cummings is able to solidify second place going into turn one.
Yeah, Cummings and Wingate University with the current advantage, but not for long. Mesa Community College putting that car on 3 wheels, trying to get rotated down to the center of the corner. I have seen that of the two, Wingate seems to be a bit more planted. The lines look a bit more consistent from that blue and beige car there on your screen. However, yeah, those drivers trying to get themselves sorted out. I do think that Clemson University making a very good case right now. Only 4 laps to go, probably 3.5 laps to go at this point as they re-enter the big oval. But that is these two drivers. Jake Cummings, Ian Brown trying to get here to the finish line, and I wonder if Ian Brown is trying to gather himself back up and make a last lap run up to that second position.
Yeah, he's kind of pulled away from Ian Brown now, about 0.8 of a second between those two drivers as they little bit wide there from Jake Cummings to the first chicane on the backstretch, but keeps it together. Kept the gap between him and Ian Brown about the same as the gap's come down a little bit between Bonin and Cummings, but I'm not sure if there's going to be enough time in this race. As I want to take a moment while there's a bit of a lull in the action to go back and look at this insane battle between Ian Brown and Jake Cummings as they come through this infield section. It caught me by surprise. I was very surprised that Ian Brown tried to make a move around the outside in turn 2.
Yeah, this was maybe the opportunity that he felt defensive for Wingate University and actually left the door open. I might have to add this to my playbook, Matt, as he made the inside a little bit forceful right there. You have to do it in these Toyota race cars, and then crossed over, and you wonder, could Mesa Community College have been a little bit more defensive on the exit right there, but you would lose all your speed. And if you get hit from behind, you risk getting turned around right there. And again, holding strong position, but ultimately it was Wingate University who was able to make this crossover right here. Stellar racing, and you can see that back up front, it looks like Mesa Community College live has retaken this position, so the battle rages on, Matt.
Yeah, it looks like there might have been a mistake out of Wingate University there. I'm surprised. The gap was about 0.8 of a second when we went to go watch that replay, and it got flipped, and Mesa Community College turned that from 0.8 of a second behind to 0.4 of a second in front. So great job from Ian Brown keeping it consistent. We'll see if we can find a replay of that battle here now that the gap's kind of widened out. Look here going into turn 1. That's Ian Brown in the back Ian Brown of Mesa Community College and Jake Cummings of Wingate coming through the infield section again. And it looks like Ian Brown might have done the same thing again. Not quite into the turns 3 and 4 here, but see what Jake Cummings does. He gets a little bit on the curb. Too much curb, upsets the car and sends them way out wide. Ian Brown close enough to take advantage of the opportunity, and he's not going to look back now as he's extended the gap between himself and Jake Cummings to a second now on track.
Yeah, he has, and that gap is right there, and going to be pretty tricky to come back. But yeah, watching too many Miata races, those cars hooking the curb with your inside tire, Matt, is an option. But these are pretty nasty curbs, turtles, some would say. Those blue markers there on the inside of these Roval corners, especially on the inside of infield here, and so that's going to be pretty tricky for those drivers to hook and then come off of. It's going to be much more common to see that loss in momentum. And yeah, right there, Mesa Community College capitalizing. These drivers are racing to the white flag right now, and so on your screen you can see Clemson University and Kyle Bonin have the race in hand currently. Just got to get that car to the end. And then Ian Brown and Jake Cummings continue. I'll tell you what, Matt, Jake Cummings and Wingate University, not done yet. That gap continues to fluctuate, and we know that those two drivers are pretty square on pace and working down the field. Drexel University with a handful of positions on your scoring tower, and Texas A&M International in that 5th position. But right now it is coming to the white flag. That's Clemson University in those distinct orange wheels.
Yeah, Kyle Bonin did a great job this race as the gap between Brown and Cummings was down to about 3/4 of a second. There must have been a mistake from Cummings as that gap is now at 1.6 seconds. So maybe he took a little bit too much curb again. We've seen that multiple times this race from the Wingate driver. So unfortunate from him, a bit mistake prone this race, but he's got speed in that car, and I think if he can keep it under control, calm down some, and let his driving do the talking, I think he'll be in a good spot for next race as well. But one driver who did let his driving do the talking, Kyle Bonin, done a great job so far as he makes his way through the infield section one final time this race.
Yeah, up through the infield and off and on to the big oval right now. All gas pedal from here, and that gap of 3 seconds has been pretty stable for those wondering what kind of pace the position 2 and 3 had for your leader. Looks like kind of even on pace, so all that battling was very exciting, but did hand off the win. And I'll tell you one other thing, Matt, as these cars come through this final chicane right here, the drivers do as much as they can to get that car turned right and pointed back up the banking before they even hit the second set of turtles on that right side. That's something that I've seen from a lot of these front-running drivers.
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of you want to get on the gas pedal as fast as you can, but one driver who's been on the gas pedal a lot this race, Kyle Bonin from Clemson University, through the final chicane now, takes the checkered flag for race 1 tonight in the GR86 Cup for the CiL. Ian Brown comes across the line now, finishes second, with Jake Cummings finishing rounding out your last podium positions right now. A couple seconds behind them, Drexel University's Alexander Diamond slows down to the start-finish line, trying to let some of his competitors catch up a bit as Major Monsivas for Texas A&M International comes home in 5th. Jason Wallet, he had a bit of a tough race, saw a couple crashes out of him on our timing sheet, so not what he wanted in this first race, but he'll learn from it and he'll come back a bit stronger in the second race, hopefully moving up the field a bit more.
Yeah, that seems to be the case, and did get to see that the ETSU Buccaneer, Lee Nutter, actually he had that that secondary incident because of the contact that we saw, Matt, turned around, actually damage from contact as the College of San Mateo comes to take the checkered flag right now. Damage from that contact kept him behind the pit wall, so making a return in the second race. A couple of these drivers are going to be interested in a little bit of redemption, I think, in this one.
Yeah, I think it was a bit unfortunate for some of these drivers to get a bit too overzealous on the curbs, especially in lap 1. Those curbs really can take a toll on your car, and if you're not careful, can send you where you really don't want to end up, which is that outside wall, as Michael Tognati for College of San Mateo comes across the line to finish out your drivers still on the course, as we have a little bit of a warm-up session between the races here for drivers to get readjusted to the track. But I think we're going to try and maybe hear from our race winner, Kyle Bonin. We'll see if we can hear from him, but we'll let the producers and stewards track that guy down, get him out of his victory celebrations, and we'll hear if he has any words of knowledge to share with us tonight. But
yeah, it's always a pretty quick turnaround from the car to the warm up to whatever the drivers need to do in their dorm rooms in real life in between these races. 5 minutes to get reset up, and yeah, Matt, a couple of these drivers again are going to be trying to pay attention with this invert. Your pole sitter will actually be, looks like, Hunter Hedesti right now, Clemson University. So Clemson University wins. Clemson University starts the second one despite this invert here. And then that ETSU Buccaneer, Lee Nutter, he's going to have a chance to show what he's got under the hood of that Toyota there in second position.
Let's go ahead and run through our Heat 1 results again one more time. It's going to be Kyle Bonin out of Clemson University, winning the race by a margin of about 3.3 seconds over Ian Brown out of Mesa Community College. In third, Jake Cummings had a bit of an eventful race, running over curbs a bit more often than he'd like, but Jake Cummings from Wingate University rounds out your podium finishers for race 1 from Wingate. Alexander Diamond from Drexel will finish 4th. Major Monsivas from Texas A&M International in 5th. Jason Wallet, teammate to Diamond, in 4th. He's going to finish 6th out of Drexel as well. And one lap down is Michael Tognati out of the College of San Mateo. And 2 drivers retire from this race. Lee Nutter from East Tennessee State and Hunter Hedesti out of Clemson both suffered damage early on in this race and could not continue.
Yeah, and that man atop your screen, Clemson University's Kyle Bonin. Kyle has climbed out of that car, and yeah, Kyle, congrats on the first win there. First heat race, and pretty convenient. You were able to step out to a little bit of a lead. Walk us through that heat 1. I think Kyle trying to get his mic hooked up right now. Kyle, do you have copy? And sometimes that's the way it goes. See if we can hear from Kyle a little bit later in the evening, but sometimes that's the way it is, Matt, faster than the speed of sound. Technical difficulties no matter. So really good run there from that Clemson machine, and Clemson right now, Matt, is in a great spot to score points with those 2 cars they have entered here tonight. Hunter Hedesti could really run away with this.
Yeah, I think Clemson University is one of those schools where there is a big partnership between drivers, both alumni and student, really trying to work together to figure out what makes their cars go quick. As Hunter Hedesti in this warm session on top of the tower, actually, with a 133.58 at the moment, but still plenty of time in this warm session, about a minute and a half for drivers to continue to work on their skills and hone their craft as they maybe try to figure out a couple tricks around this track now that they've watched a couple other drivers race here as well.
Yeah, and that's going to be something, that 777 car. Nice purple and orange screen. Going to be tricky to get out front. But we saw how to start the race. It does seem to be best if you can jump out ahead, Matt, and get the advantage by the time you cross the line there. Take the green flag, but going to try again with Mr. Kyle Bonin. Do you have a copy? Yeah, it's still working on that, I think. So Kyle Bonin trying to get set, but Matt, 30 seconds until we grid for this next one, and pretty tricky for these drivers to get set up right now, and they're really walking through, especially these now inverted. So going to be 9th place and moving up. Kyle Bonin, Ian Brown, Jake Cummings. Those drivers are going to have to figure out how to negotiate their way forward here.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very important that they don't get caught up in any shenanigans with some of these curbs. You know, we saw a couple drivers take too much curb on lap 1 last race, so being careful of how much curb the drivers in front are taking, and being ready to take evasive actions if needed are going to be very important for some of the drivers who find themselves in the back of the pack now after leading all last race. But getting set here for race 2, we're going to go ahead and take a look at our starting grid. Hunter Hidesti out of Clemson University, we just saw him driving around in warm-up, will take the pole after being at the back of the pack for race 1. He's going to get the front of the pack for race 2. Lee Nutter to his outside from East Tennessee State will start second. Michael Tognati, he finished 1 lap down for race 1. He's going to start third in race 2. Jason Wald out of Drexel will start fourth. Major Monsivas out of Texas A&M International will start 5th. Alex Diamond from Drexel is going to start 6th. And your top 3 finishers in race 1, Jake Cummings from Wingate, Ian Brown from Mesa Community College, and Kyle Bonin from Clemson will start 7th, 8th, and 9th. And Kyle is on that very back row with no one to his outside. I think it's going to be very interesting to see if he takes advantage of that and tries to move around and make some moves inside, outside, off the start here.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the way to do it. Obviously, being alone in the final row, you've got a little bit of room to get that run, and we'll see sometimes some drivers try and time the race start, get a run. But I mean, in 9th place, only so many rows you can pass there before it's time to go through the chicane and then get into turn 1, where you can be assured these drivers are going to try and go forward. I'm sure that the rear of the field there after that invert, they're going to be spread out. They're probably going to split some of these drivers, the mid pack, and try and go around either side. I expect that it would be pretty dicey. Those drivers are going to have to work their way forward. But somehow, Matt, every time we do this, it's not even to the first lap, and we have the same drivers up at the front or nearing the front, which is always exciting to see how they accomplish that every time we go out.
I think it's going to be a very interesting start because I think this track with this car, I think there's tons of places to overtake. Turn 1, obviously the most opportune spot on the opening lap if you want to overtake, but we saw passes in the infield from the front 3, passes through both chicanes on the back end of the lap, so I would not be surprised to see lots of action early on in this lap, and I think some of these drivers are not going to be wanting to hang around at the back of the pack for long.
No, they will not. And another second chance for that beige and red car right there. You see Texas A&M International. That's going to be a car to watch. But I'm interested to see what Drexel University does. 3 entrants in this one, and they've got an opportunity to make something happen right up here. Their leading runner right now, Jason Willott, as he tries to get up. On that outside. Yeah, that is the 86 maybe of Timothy Wilm. That is Jason Willott. Very good on our production crew. So that Porsche 911 is going to bring us through the final chicane. These drivers are getting their tires set, and a name that we haven't been able to call out much tonight is that 3rd place machine, the College of San Mateo, entering this one via their driver, Michael Tognati. He's going to see what he can get done here from that 3rd starting position in this second heat.
Yeah, I think lots of opportunities here to overtake on this first lap. But drivers have to be careful here. It's not one in the first lap, but you can definitely lose it if you're not careful. Good old classic saying, you can't win it in turn 1, but you sure can lose it. Drivers approach the final turn on their formation lap as this Porsche 911 from iRacing gets ready to pull into the pits now. Hunter Hidesti will lead the field to green here.
There he goes. Hunter Hidesti is the control car right now. He will be very patient, waiting for that green flag to come out. Does have a little advantage right now. Now he's going to pick up the gas, and away we go. And immediately to the inside, everybody trying to take that curb, but I'm not sure that was the fastest way to do it. 3, trying to make it 4 wide to the inside. Kyle Bonin sneaking by everybody, and big trouble. I saw that curb, Matt. Knew that was going to be trouble. Wingate, Texas A&M, Clemson is around right now. Mesa Community College coming out the victors of that shuffle, but Alex Diamond trying to get past. This is Michael Tognati, who we just talked about, was I think just a passenger, was as the Clemson Tiger came shooting down the inside, very ambitious on the brakes, and you have to wonder if that move was going to stick without any traction compound down there on that line. But right now, up at the front, this is your leader. This is second position, Jason Willott, as Hunter Hidesti continues to work his way on that first lap, trying to escape as much as he can. And right here, what a scene out the mirror. 2 Drexel University cars. You can bet that they will work together. Wallet and Diamond, very talented. They will try and get up to the front right there. And oh, big slide, and nose in the wall for the 777, Matt.
Yeah, Hidesti took way too much curb on the entry there. That shot him straight out to the outside wall there. Unfortunate for Hidesti, but up at the front, these 2 Drexel cars running 1-2 right now. It's going to be a great race for them if they can keep up this pace right now. I think for them right now, if they work together and just try to stream away from the rest of the pack right now, they have a very good chance to lead a Drexel 1-2 here in the second race of tonight. But I think once we get this action settles down, I think I want to take a replay of that first incident in turn 1. Lots of chaos going on in turn 1 there. I think Kyle Bond the bowling ball, and I think a lot of the rest of the field, the bowling pins.
I think that's going to be an accurate assessment. The stewards have noted that entire incident, lap 1, under review. It's a busy night to be a steward here, but Kyle Bonin making that move to the inside right now. Drexel University up front, and I'll tell you what I see on the scoring tower right now is Ian Brown is in that second position. Not much damage on that car. Mesa Community College is going to have a lot of time to make their way to the front if they have a little bit of pace. So that gap that I'm watching on that screen right there, 1.8, 1.6, 1.7. Of course, it will fluctuate as we go on and off of the NASCAR oval. But already right there, you can see Drexel University, car number 2, starting to slip back just a little bit. I do see Jacob Cummings as well. He would love to start moving forward, and I know he's got the pace to do so. Don't know if he will make it up there, but right now, yeah, you can see the timer on your screen. Mesa Community College, Matt, has arrived.
Yeah, for sure. I think Ian Brown has seen the cars he was racing with earlier in that first heat kind of fallen by the wayside as they got caught up in that first incident. I think Ian Brown barely squeaked out of there with very little damage, if any at all, as he tries to make a look to the inside here. Coming into the final chicane, can't quite get it done, but I think he's sizing up a move here. Coming out of the final corner, he gets a pretty decent exit, but so does Alexander Diamond out of Drexel University in front of him as Drexel closes back up on his teammate Jason Wallet in first. I think we're going to have a good 3-car fight for the lead here, as it looks like Ian Brown peeks to the inside going into turn 2. Tight section with walls all around you, and I think no room for error there, and it looks like Ian Brown, opportunistic move for Mesa Community College, moves up into the second position.
Yeah, and I think in that instance, I think that was Alex Diamond in that Drexel machine.
That was, yes.
Racing politely right there. Realized the pace that Mesa machine has right now, and just letting that car through, maybe looking for a tow, maybe take some notes on the racing line. But yeah, that was, that's a decision. That is one of the decisions that these drivers make, Matt, is you can play defense all night long and make the other driver force the issue. We may see something like turn 1 again, or we can all agree to live to fight another day. And already it was going to be a very nice finishing result in this second heat for Drexel University, and I think maybe a calculated choice from our new third place runner. But more calculations to come, Matt. We've got a battle for the lead.
Ian Brown is deep on the brakes into the first chicane in the backstretch there. He made up tons of time on Jason Wallet in the lead, and I think if Jason Wallet isn't careful here, he's going to lose the lead. Deep braking Ian Brown right on his tail as Ian Brown looks to the inside now. We'll see if he can get the move done. He's going to go late on the brakes, get the nose of the inside, and Wallet's going to have to give that one up. Deep into the corner, not only is Wallet going to lose second, but he'll lose excuse me, not only will Wallet lose the lead, but he'll lose second as well to his Drexel teammate Alexander Diamond as Wallet covers, and he's trying to make up some ground in third place now as Ian Brown, your new leader, commanding move into the last chicane there.
That was a commanding move, and the optics were a little bit odd, Matt. I noted that I expected that Drexel car, that was driver Jason Willott, to kind of hang out on the outside. He actually had his door was just ahead of the bumper of the Mesa car there, entering that first part of the chicane. So I thought he kind of hang tough there on the outside, but not only did that not happen, he actually kind of came to quite a stop and let his teammate Alex Diamond by as well. Maybe that was another strategy that we're not privy to from Drexel. But yeah, a bit of surprise there, but not surprised, Matt, to see Mesa Community College up at the front of this one after lap 1 and then after driving back up. And we'll see if Wingate University can do the same. That gap from 4th position to 3rd position is closing pretty rapidly.
Yeah, I think Ian Brown just spooked Jason Willott there. I think Willott didn't realize that there was enough room and that Ian Brown was going to make the corner. I think Willott was worried that Brown was outbraking himself and was going to turn, Willott into a bowling pin there in the last chicane. But Wallett's teammate, Alexander Diamond, has a great run coming to the final chicane as Ian Brown goes to defend the inside and into the final corner. Looks like Brown a little too late on the brakes. He's going to cut the corner. He's going to spin coming up the last corner. Almost takes out Alexander Diamond. Great heads-up play from Diamond there, but unfortunate from Ian Brown. He got lucky the first time breaking deep into the last chicane, and Ian Brown is just going to have to tow that one away now into the pits.
Oh no, I didn't think there was a bunch of terminal damage there for Mesa and Ian Brown, but wow, what a change. And I was going to say, it's very fun to watch Alex Diamond from Drexel pilot those open wheel Formula College cars around any racetrack, and what a move right there, filling up the mirror, getting inside the head of his competitors, and I'm going to say, Matt, forcing a mistake from our leader, a rare mistake from Ian Brown. Ian Brown now to the pit. He's going to have to tow that machine. And yeah, your new leader right now is Drexel University back up front in the shape of that 49 car. And look at this. He moved to the outside, brought on the defense from Mesa right there. Mesa looking and just laid on the brakes, just missed the braking point right there. Yeah, the curb helping nobody tonight. Get those things out of there. And yeah, Mesa Community College, that 3 machine turned around. Yeah, I don't know that there was any terminal damage. Maybe just had enough sadness for one night. It's not been a great race for that machine right there. But anyways, Drexel University, Matt, up at the front. In fact, in P1 and 2. However, that Wingate machine continues to close the gap to what is now 2nd position. Jake Cummings is on a mission. You did see briefly unlapping himself, Kyle Bonin from Clemson University. Yeah, trying to get the job done here after quite the first lap. But that is not for position. In fact, scored behind his teammate, Hunter Hadesti, also from Clemson University. So, Matt, yeah, back up the front. Drexel University trying to make the most of this opportunity, and they could come away with a solid points haul right here.
Yeah, I'm not sure. There might have been contact between Diamond and Ian Brown. Maybe that left front tire just got clipped from Ian Brown and maybe bent a tow rod or something, but I'm not quite sure. We'll maybe ask Diamond after this race, if he's one of our top 3 finishers, what happened there and if he made any contact. But we see Kyle Bonin in the background here trying to overtake 2nd position. That's Jason Willott trying to unlap himself here, maybe make up some ground, get some more points in the championship standing. But we've got Kyle Bonin on our screen, and I think it's important to go back now that we have a chance that see what caused this first wreck with Kyle Bonin into turn 1, lap 1. He's got a bit of a head start here. He's way back in the pack, trying to make it 4 wide going down into turn 1. I think he just misses his braking point and turns Michael Tognati. Yeah, he goes over the curb and takes out Tognati and Jake Cummings. Ian Brown barely scraping through there. You see him going off your screen there, and I think that was a very close shave for Ian Brown. A little lucky there, but unfortunately the luck could not continue for him tonight as he is pitted, and now he's behind Hunter Hadesti, or excuse me, he's behind Kyle Bonin on track. They're actually pretty close, and they can have a fight for the 7th position as Brown comes back into the pits, actually, as I say that. So it looks like Brown might have some damage. He might have to retire from this race.
Yeah, Brown continuing to work on that car, but on your tower there, you can see the battle. Wingate University has arrived on the scene. and has, oh man, about 3.5 laps. He's got the leader in sight right there. He's got 2 Drexel cars that he's got to dispose of if he's going to put himself on the top spot of the podium. And Matt, suddenly we've got a motor car race at the end of this one.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see how Kyle Bonin plays into this. Is he going to want to unlap himself here and just maybe follow Jake Cummings through some of these cars he's trying to pass? Because Jake Cummings has some insane speed right now. He has a great run coming to the exit of the infield section. Looks inside of Jason Wallach. We saw this move earlier from him in race 1, trying to cross over Ian Brown, but makes that move successfully coming onto the oval. And Jake Cummings from Wingate University from 3rd to 2nd.
Yeah, 3rd to 2nd. Wingate with 1 car to go out the front of their car, or out the front of their windshield, excuse me, and it's not going to be easy to get around the 2nd Drexel car that is driven by Alex Diamond. All the curb taken right there, and that's the 2nd time tonight battling up for the lead. Oh, and around, I was going to say, is Jason Willott in that 76 car. Drexel University getting back up to speed there. And I was going to say, it's the 2nd time I've seen him be a little bit more patient, probably than I personally would have been, as we get down inside of 3 to go. That was not very well defended, or maybe not very hard defended from the 76 machine. Yeah, right here, getting that car rotated, hitting that curb, and yeah, as soon as it goes around, there must be something with these Toyota GR86s, Matt, that car continues to rotate even after the driver politely asks it to stop. However, the battle for the lead is brewing.
Yeah, for sure. Diamond now, there's only 0.2 of a second. He goes a little bit wide in the infield section. That's going to give Wingate University's Jake Cummings a chance to make the move on the inside, coming through the section now. Wingate is able to make the pass for the lead from being wrecked on lap 1 to being the leader on lap 8. Jake Cummings from Drexel is able to take the lead, and I think now he's going to try to pull this one out, and he's going to pull away quickly as Kyle Bonin now wants to make a move, not for position, but he wants to try to unlap himself eventually as he tries to make a move here on Alex Diamond from Drexel.
Yeah, and we'll see what happens here. I thought that Diamond may have had some pace earlier in the race to match that Mesa car, but that Wingate leader up at the front there. But Jake Cummings has this one in hand. In fact, I was going to say a 2nd trip to the pits has occurred there for Ian Brown, Mesa Community College. So that car continuing to struggle throughout this one. But coming to 2 to go, this time by 2 to go, Wingate University is going to try to hold off. And that gap closing just a little bit. That toe, there's a little bit of draft coming around NASCAR 4 there, Matt.
Yeah, I'm actually wondering if maybe Diamond wants to be in 2nd place coming to the checkers as we take our 2nd to last lap here, because there was a ton of draft there, more than I was expecting for this race. So if Diamond is able to stay close enough to Cummings throughout the rest of these race, or these last 2 laps, maybe if he uses that draft, he can make a late move into the last chicane and potentially pull out a win here. But he's got to stay closer to Cummings than he is right now, and that's excuse me, it's harder to do than said. So we'll see what Alex Diamond can do here in these final 2 laps.
Yeah, and I wonder, he probably has that confidence there from taking the lead and putting a little bit of a move behind that Mesa machine, and so that is playing in his head. Maybe he's comfortable in that 2nd position right now, but yeah, he's going to have the pace and get up there. In fact, Kyle Bonin now looking around to make that move. Kyle Bonin out of the draft. Maybe he's just letting Diamond run his race. That's the kind thing to do here in this instance. But yeah, that gap up over 2nd right now, 1.4 seconds on your screen. And so Drexel University going to have to pull a couple laps out here, reminiscent of the Max Verstappen qualifying save the best for last there effort at the end. But Wingate University with this one ready to go, coming to the white flag right now.
Yeah, Jake Cummings, he had a pretty eventful first race, made a couple mistakes, but make no mistake here, he's done a fantastic job in the 2nd race. Crashed in turn 1 on lap 1 due to no fault of his own. He's now in the lead for the white flag lap as he has Drexel University's Alex Diamond chasing him 1 second behind right now. Can Drexel get there in time as Jake Cummings rounds turn 2 now? With Diamond on his tail.
Yeah, riding on board with Alex Diamond. This is your Drexel University car. He's trying to make that curb work for him right there off the corner, using every bit of the track. But man, I don't know. That gap is still about 1.6. Yeah, not getting any smaller, Matt. So I think these drivers are both trying to get to their checkered flag just the same. But Wingate University, a very well put together race. There was a lot of stress early on, but they've managed it very well.
For sure, and I think Wingate is just so much better in that infield section. He's pulled out nearly a second that lap, just through the middle of the lap. I think Diamond's a bit better through the chicanes in that end of the lap, but it's just not going to be enough unless he can pull something miraculous out, or if Cummings makes a mistake on these curbs in the last two chicanes. We did see it in the first race. We'll see if it happens again in the second race. Good through the first chicane, but I think he's going to take it easy here on this last chicane, knowing he has a 2.4 second gap to second place driver behind him.
Yeah, no need to push right now, and this should be, but properly done. A good a good first race, and an even better second race through the final chicane and to the checkered flag is Wingate University's Jake Cummings for Wingate Esports. He's going to put that car on top of the podium in victory lane tonight, however you'd like to say it, and we should not discount through all that awesome action. Drexel University putting two cars on the podium tonight. Drexel Esports going to be very proud of that result, as they should be. Alexander Diamond and Jason Willott bringing those cars across the line. College of San Mateo and Michael Tognati there, fourth on your screen. Texas A&M International just couldn't put it together tonight. Major Monsivas is coming to take the checkered flag right now. And yeah, a couple of those cars a lap down. We did see the Clemson machine take that checkered flag, but right there, Mesa Community College, not the second race that they would have chosen, but man, what a run right there. And Hunter Adesti going to finish this one up as he makes his way to the checkered flag.
Yeah, pretty eventful second race there with a pretty chaotic start, and then Jake Cummings for Wingate making his way through the field after getting caught up in that turn one accident. I think he did a fantastic job of keeping his head cool. I think a lot of drivers would kind of let that get to them and maybe drive with a little bit of that red mist. We hear often about drivers when they get angry, they kind of just get tunnel vision and make mistakes, but not for Jake Cummings out of Wingate University. He kept a cool head, came through the traffic to take the win in the second race after a pretty eventful first race for him, so he'll be very happy with that. I think a couple other drivers, I think we should shout out Major Monsivas. I think he got caught in two incidents tonight, which were not his fault, and kind of put a damper on his race tonight. But Jake Cummings, your winner for race 2, he's going to be very happy with this one.
Yeah, Jake Cummings again coming back to hang out here at the start-finish line. He's happy with this one. Look at that machine motor around. He's got his Toyota in victory lane. But looks like, Matt, we have our first arrival to the interview rating room. Drexel University's Alexander Diamond, congrats on second place here in the final heat, and really putting together as well a pretty good first heat in this one. You know, what did you learn in the first heat? How did that help you out in the second heat? And walk us through quite the battle there to finish it up.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming from the first heat, main thing to learn is consistency. There were a few people around me that had some unlucky exits out of the second chicane, so just nailing those exits and just keeping the time consistent was definitely a big key going into the second heat. Got kind of lucky at the very beginning of the second heat. Tried to defend a little bit for my teammate while he was out in P1. It didn't work so well, and then kind of crawled it back and clawed it back up to P2, and that was a really tough battle with Cummings. I got to give him props. He just had the pace over me, and I just couldn't compete with him there.
Yeah, Diamond, we saw your fight with Ian Brown earlier in the race. You were fighting with him for the lead. He made a bit of a defensive move, just outbraked himself. Were you expecting to see Ian Brown make such a mistake, or were you thinking that he was going to back out of it? Maybe you were going to get the lead there. What happened from your perspective?
Going into that last chicane there, I kind of expected him to brake a little bit later. I didn't expect him to go that late. I saw my brake marker, saw him kind of fly past, and said, "Oh, this isn't going to be too good for him. Let me slow down a little bit and make sure I don't get any penalties or any damage coming out of that chicane." And just trying to keep it stable over those bumps because they are very dangerous coming out of that last one.
Yeah, that seemed to be what we saw tonight, Alex. Hey, before we send you on your way, is there anybody that you want to give a shout out to tonight?
Yeah, I don't think my parents for basically helping me set up everything. My teammates, Jason, he came in P3. That's a big team win for us, and then Drexel University. For the time being, our sim racing team are just a bunch of individually sponsored players. So hopefully, this will show Drexel that we can compete at a higher level, and will help us form a proper, cohesive esports team.
Very well. Well, you're giving them something to be proud of, Drexel University, and yourself a very good finish, second position here in heat number 2. Congrats, Alex.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, that was second place finisher and Drexel University leader, Alex Diamond. But our third place finisher and Jason, we just got finished talking to your Drexel teammate. Congrats on third place, and walk us through that. A lot of battling tonight,
I can
but
hear you.
I think you kept it pretty safe. And Jason trying to work out again. Jason, do you have a copy?
Heard him speak early. I don't know if he can hear us though.
Not sure, and we'll see if we can bring that interview a little bit later, get that worked out. But at the moment, let's see if we can bring in our winner. This is Jake Cummings from Wingate University. Jake, you got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right. Well, congratulations, first of all, on that win right there. Walk us through it. It was quite the first lap, actually, quite the first turn. How did you come back from that one?
Well, I mean, talking through what happened first, it was a bit of a surprise. I didn't know that Kyle had laid back that much. I know in ovals you're not allowed to do it. I don't know if there's rules about it here, but regardless, he got the run of the century and took us 4 wide. And I was trying to sort of come to the left just a little bit to sort of tell him like, hey man, this isn't not going to work if you try to send us 3 wide and you're that close to the bottom of the track just to start. And I mean, I gave him room, but it obviously didn't work because he hit whoever was in front of us. And I thought I cleared it, but I guess someone got spun or tapped or tried to correct and got me right at the end of it. So that was a little annoying because I had done everything right up to that point. But just after that, it's hard to tell first off just how good of a turning circle these things have. I was thinking I was having to reverse and do like a 360 turnaround, which you can't even do in these things. But I mean, you can do a 360 on a dime in these things, so you had to get through that. And then it was just like getting back up the pace, getting the temperature back in the tires. Not that you really had any at that point, anyways. But and then just kind of letting everyone come to you. I didn't even see what happened, but somehow in all that, even though I got spun, I still went from P7 to P4 in the first lap, and I didn't even pass anyone after that. So on the first lap, anyways. So that was fun. And then it was just sort of about. I thought was gonna have a run with it, and then I guess he had some kind of issue at the final chicane, and it just kind of tore his car apart. Unfortunately for him. But then it was just about. I knew I was going to be quite a bit faster than the two Drexel cars, and I felt just a little bad, about 1%, because I was ruining their 1-2 dream run that they were having at the time. But yeah, it was especially funny just with Kyle coming back out and then getting that penalty, and then wanting to unlap himself, but also having to adhere to the blue flags once I had caught up to him, and he was he kind of made it a little easier for me to catch him in the end. But yeah, they didn't really put up much of a fight. I guess they just kind of wanting to secure podiums for themselves in their school. But all in all, once I got to the lead, I didn't really let them get too far behind me, just because I didn't want to do what Ian had done and just have it be a curse. So I just kind of chilled once I got up there and made sure I got to the finish all right.
Well, Jake, you had a really exciting second race, but I kind of want to take you back to that first race there. We saw a couple mistakes out of you going over some of those curbs in your battle with Ian Brown. What goes through your mind kind of going through those curbs and realizing you kind of lose the car a little bit, and how do you come back and try to kind of recover from that and get ready for a second race where you had to make your way through the field?
Well, yeah, it's really interesting in these cars. Some of the curbs you can absolutely clobber. to all get out, and you have no issue at all. And then other ones, you you touch them a little too hard, or you go over them, and it just kind of wants to spit. Yeah, I guess they're called turtles for a reason. But yeah, it's probably just about the angle or something. And on that qualifying lap that got me pole, I absolutely obliterated the curb in turn one, as in, I went right over it. I hopped over it, and it wasn't faster than not doing it, but the car was just fine. But then you come down to, I guess that's turn four, and I'd never taken that much curb before, but I was trying to get the good run to get away from Ian and try to chase after Kyle once again, but just a little too much. And yeah, I mean, fortunately, it doesn't kill your toe or your suspension or anything. It just kind of upsets the car, and it's a very momentum-based thing, like the Mazdas. So once you lose that momentum, there's not really much you can do. And then once he got up the road, I don't know if the track was getting faster or something, but my gearing for corners wasn't really working anymore, and I was having to go up. But that made me carry a bit too much speed into some, like more than I wanted, and that led to more mistakes, like tapping the wall off of the exit of the final chicane coming to that last lap, which probably cost me a shot at getting back to Ian in that first race. But yeah, it's the sort of thing where you're supposed to learn this in practice, but it's when you have 9 people, you just kind of show up and see what happens. So if you didn't do it then it's kind of just like, well, good luck, see what happens in the race if you're gonna do it. But at the end of the day, it's not always like, oh yeah, I'm going to do this. This is the plan. Sometimes it just kind of happens based on the speed you were carrying into the corner and how much angle you put into it, and then you end up there, and you're just thinking, oh well, I guess we'll see how this goes. And sometimes it goes better than others. Unfortunately, most of the curbs are pretty nice to this thing, way nicer than I expected. So I guess I just got maybe a little overconfident in myself there going over some of those curbs, but at the end of the day, still a pretty good points haul for me to extend that championship lead quite nicely.
Well,
Yeah,
Jake, we really appreciate the insight there you can provide us about your races tonight. Congratulations on a third and a first place finish tonight. But before we send you on your way this evening, is there anybody you want to thank or shout out on the broadcast?
I'm just gonna thank you guys. I'm done trying to think about it too much. I'll just give this one to you guys. You guys do an awesome job putting these things on and providing all this stewarding and commentary. It's really awesome, and it's what really makes this league what this league is. Not just for the GR Cup, but all the other leagues you guys have done in the past and will do in the future. So thank you guys very much, and keep up the good work.
Well, thank you, Jake. It was fun watching you race tonight. We hope to see you soon in the booth next week, same time, same place. But once again, that was Jake Cummings out of Wingate University, our race 2 winner tonight. He had a very exciting race coming from the back after getting involved in that T1 accident, Josh.
yeah, and what a move it was. Thinking back, the Clemson machine, Kyle Bonin, he kind of moved down the inside. Maybe he could have made the corner. He was on his brakes, but he was not alongside the white car there of San Mateo. That was Michael Tognati, and so he, moved to the inside and just thought would just gonna do some off roading, I guess, in his Toyota GR86. He was gonna move up over those big turtles. You heard our winner Jake Cummings just talk about it. Turtles not to be taken lightly here at the Charlotte Roval, and so that is the way it goes sometimes. But on your screen, the race 2 winner, Jake Cummings, he had the pace tonight and came out on top, and he had the luck as well. So very smart. You could hear in the interview he had thought this through, a very calculated win from the Wingate driver.
Yeah, absolutely, Josh. I think he had a very good race, but I think another driver who also had a good race tonight is your third place finisher. Hoping we've got some of those technical gremlins solved. We got Jason Wallot from Drexel University up in the booth. Jason, can you hear us?
Yeah, and it's pronounced wallet, not wallet.
Yeah, Jason.
Now I'm gonna feel bad the rest of the night thinking about it.
Very good. Yeah, Jason, congrats to you and Drexel as well. Making a really good push, 2 and 3 for the team. Walk us through both those races. It seemed kind of dicey out there on track.
Not really much to tell, I don't think. I mean, there was a wreck on lap 1, which was my fault, and then I was after that, I got pushed back down to like 5th, friend with Major Montsevious. Then I kind of hit the curbs and spun myself twice, which pushed me down to 6th. And then for race 2, I started out 2nd, and then me and Alex, me and Hunter all got ahead of everyone else, and then Hunter took himself, and then it was the two of us fighting for holding 1 and 2 until Ian and Jake came along. Then Jake and Alex fought. I tried to keep pace, but got spun myself again, and I wish Alex had and Jake just had more pace than Alex and won. Not much to tell, really. I didn't get into many fights.
Yeah, Jason, I think we saw you running 1-2 with your Drexel teammate Alexander Diamond up at the front for a while. You see cars kind of coming in your relative, kind of catching up to you two. Are you two thinking at that time we just need to focus on driving away from the cars behind, or are you more worried about position for yourself more than you are about position for the?
I think I'm personally thinking more for a position for the team, because I can only race the first 6 of these races. Got summer classes that would stop me from doing the last 6.
Yeah,
Well, very good, and yeah, congratulations again on that podium finishing position, Jason. Is there anybody that you want to thank or give a shout out to before we send you on your way tonight?
Yeah, Alex, thanks for getting the student class win, and Drexel Esports, thanks for letting us race like this.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Well, congrats again to Drexel Esports, Drexel University, and yourself, Jason, getting that podium spot, and it was very fun to watch you do that as well. Have a great night, Jason.
Thanks, you too.
And that was Matt. That was third place finisher Jason Wallet. He was he's fast in the open wheels. He's fast in stock cars. He's fast in Toyotas. Very fun to watch. And so is Alex Diamond, man. Drexel University is making their name here around CIL.
Yeah, for sure. I think Drexel puts on a very good program with their drivers. I think there's a lot of involvement from the school with that program. So it's always great to see drivers kind of mature as they progress throughout their college careers. I think you really see that from Jason Wallet. I think he's gotten a lot better at road racing throughout these past couple months since we first saw him racing the CIL. And I only expect to see more from Jason as he continues to develop his craft and work with his teammates at Drexel to make himself, as well as the rest of his teammates, better competitors. And we'll see more of them at the front throughout the rest of the season.
Yeah, that is a fact for sure. And man, what a good race tonight! Very fun. Wingate University coming out on top, and Mesa Community College doing very well. Obviously, that Heat 1 race, Matt, was very fun to see Kyle Bonin make his return here to the 10 tops in CIL. Maybe the second race there was not what he would have scripted for himself, but nonetheless, the Toyotas tonight did not disappoint.
Yeah, for sure. I think the Toyotas are one of the best cars in iRacing just because you can really throw them around. And I think we saw that a lot tonight with the curbs. They're very compliant over these large bumps just because the suspension is so soft. It's not like something with, an open wheel car where the suspension is so stiff where you go over one of these turtles or one of these like speed bumps you see in the backstretch chicane and your car just gets launched into the air and there's no way to control it. But with these 10 tops, you really can thrash these cars around, and I think that's what makes the racing so much fun to watch.
I agree, and if you would like more fun to watch racing, next week the Cup Series, Garage Shop College Cup Series has been not missing at all this season. That is Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we will have the Toyotas back on track in the daylight even, getting those golden rays out. It's going to be 9 p.m. Eastern next Wednesday. And Matt, I think we can look forward to that as well. That's going to be another exciting week of racing.
Yeah, next week with the GR86 cars over at Okayama, it's going to be a fun race. I think it's going to be a very unique. I think it's a bit longer than Charlotte, but I think all the fun either way, and I can't wait to watch these cars thrash around again next week. It's going to be tons of fun.
I concur, and I think with that, it is time from all of us here at CIL, the drivers and the fans and the crew. Thank you for hanging out with us. Very fun to watch tonight. Congrats to our winners here. That is Clemson University, and back there in the final heat, Wingate University. Very fun. And with that, Matt, I think that is until next time. This has been CIL. Stay fast.